All right, welcome in, guys, to another video, another GeoGuessr video. Weekly challenges. We're back with that this week. So we'll be playing three games again today, all of them on no moving. And then while we play those games, I'll try to explain my reasoning and try to provide any tips that I come across. As I mentioned in my first video, I want to make this series sort of an educational series where instead of making like a GeoGuessr tips video, I wanted to make a tips video while playing the game because I feel like the best way to get better at any game is to actually play it. So same goes for GeoGuessr, and that's the plan. So let's get started. First map will be a diverse world. Links for all the play along challenges will be in the description, so you guys can click on that first and then play it. And then after you've played it, you can watch my perspective to know my reasoning and how I arrived at my guesses or my answers, whatever you want to call it. So let's get started. First game we will play again on a diverse world, a very standard map, classic map. Everyone knows it. And yeah, let's get started. So hopefully at this point you've played this link already, played this challenge already. And yeah, let's go. All right, so looks like we have yellow plates and we have a Spanish language. So a good tip is that of all the Spanish-speaking countries, so that'd be Spain and pretty much all of South America, apart from like Brazil, well, including, well, of the countries that have coverage, I mean, the only one that uses yellow plates is Colombia. So if you see yellow plates on vehicles everywhere, it pretty much means you're probably in Colombia. Naturally, you can see yellow plates in other places as well. Like you can find it in Netherlands, in Luxembourg, in Israel, as well as a few other places. But none of them use Spanish. So if you see Spanish language, or if it just feels like South America or Latin America and you see yellow plates, then it's probably Colombia. So that's one thing. Do we have any signposts that I could quickly show? You could kind of see this signpost. So the back of the signpost in Colombia have a cross. So there's a vertical line as well as a horizontal line behind it supporting the signpost. So that's also a unique thing in Colombia. If you see a cross, you are probably going to be in Colombia. So now that we know the country, this looks like a taxi, and often on the taxi you can find the city name. Um, just trying to see, maybe I should read this text as well. Alturas, that just sounds like a place. Trabajo, is that a place? Why does that sound familiar? Maybe not. Maybe it's just a Spanish word that I don't know the meaning of. TJP, and that thing probably down there might be the city name. On top of the taxi as well, you can see it, but I can't really see it. So I'll just make a normal guess based on the landscape. It looks kind of flat. Colombia has a lot of mountains, but the flatter areas are either all the way here. Up here is also quite flat. Maybe some areas down here as well. But usually I'd say if it's like green like this and flat, I'd tend to go like here or maybe even up here near Barranquilla. Um, sure, should I guess Barranquilla or Cata? I'll just go here. Let's see. Ah, never mind. Cucuta, or however you say it. I don't pardon my pronunciations. But that makes sense. I have had that city a few times in this game, so I should have probably thought of it. But nice. If some of you got it, then good job. Um, and good job if you even recognize Colombia, because that is also quite impressive. All right, so next round. This is I'm pretty sure. Yeah, so we're driving on the left. That helps, and you have motorbikes, so you don't really see a lot of people driving bikes commonly in a lot of places. But that bike driving on the left, as well as this pole, this is an Indonesian pole with a, I don't know, it kind of looks like a trident, I guess. So the pole top has like these three things on top, and then just a stick pole, narrow pole, Sometimes it's also painted black at the bottom. That's also an Indo pole. And then these signs are also Indonesian. They have like a usually nearby towns or something mentioned on them. Uh, so if you play moving games, you probably come across those as well in Indonesia. You can also find similar signs in Mexico, but considering being driving on the left, that helps that we are not in Mexico, we are in Indo. This is a very interesting roof, by the way. I don't know what exactly this is meant to be, but maybe someone of you knows. And then this is probably just another sign. Okay, so we are in Indonesia. Now, you have to pardon me because I am not the best at guessing of where in Indonesia we are because it's a pretty big country. Maluku doesn't have coverage in Indonesia, so you can ignore that. Um, Basically, if you're in Indonesia, the coverage is in Sumatra, not in Aceh that much. I think there's like one road covered there. Java has a lot of coverage. Kalimantan has coverage like this along the coast. There's not really many roads in the middle, are there? Sulawesi has coverage. Then Bali, the Nusas, Sumba, Timor. Not Timor-Leste, but Timor has it, as well as some of these islands, Bangka Belitung, whatnot. Um, so there's a lot of places that have coverage in Indonesia. So I don't really know where to guess on this, to be honest. I don't really get any strong vibes. Um, I think this looks more like Sumatra to me than the others, so I'll just go with Sumatra. Let's see. Ah, Sumba. Never mind. Yep, that pretty much shows you how good I am at Indonesia. But sometimes I can recognize it. Okay, sometimes I can recognize the parts. Anyway, if you got closer, good job. You probably did. On this one, we're driving on the left. We have a long antenna. The sun should be in the north. Yeah, it kind of is. Well, this is Australia. Let's get to the point. The point is that we have white lines on the middle and the outsides, and we're driving on the left. So that is Australia, especially with these white roads as well, wide roads as well. Very Australian thing. And then you have this bollard, which is an Australian bollard. You can find it in a few other countries like Turkey and Netherlands and whatnot, but sun in the north, this kind of like dry landscape, very Australian. Um, South Africa, people can think of here as well, but South Africa will not have. South Africa will usually have yellow lines on the outside and white lines in the middle. So that's how you can differentiate it. Also, this pollard doesn't exist in South Africa, so that helps. So we know we are in Australia, and then to guess the region within Australia, if you zoom a bit further out, you can see these signposts, and then you can see that these signposts have a yellow pole, yellow, yeah, signpost pole, I guess, I don't know. And that is found in the state of Western Australia. So if you see a yellow signpost, you know you are in Western Australia. Also, this soil, like this color of soil, is really common in Western Australia. But don't confuse it with Northern Territory or Queensland because they can sometimes have a sort of a reddish colored soil as well. But this brown soil is like really common in Western Australia. Anyway, I'm wondering if that is the sea there, which it could be. So if the sea is that way, we are probably like, I don't really know where. I'll go here. Okay, so we were on this highway. Actually, that kind of makes sense. I don't know why I didn't go on this highway. The Northwestern Coastal Highway goes all the way up there. So that's where we were. We were in Western Australia, close to Geraldton. So yeah, hopefully you guys got it, and if not, then you hopefully got some tips from that. Okay, now we have a rural round. The sun is in the south, it looks like. Interesting. Do I even know where this is? I'm between two countries, so let me talk about this. Firstly, you have this antenna. So this is a very useful antenna to remember. I know there are a lot of different antennas on Google cars, but this one helps a lot. It's like a short stubby antenna with a thingy going around it, whatever it's called, like a, yeah, I don't know. But if you see this antenna, it's commonly found, well, it's only found in Mexico, Colombia, Ecuador, and Brazil. You can also find a similar antenna in Cambodia, but it's a little bit different. It's got like three things going down it. And also you can tell Cambodia apart usually from this landscape. So that would mean we are either in Mexico, Colombia, Ecuador, or Brazil. This doesn't really look like Brazil with all of these hills. Hilly Brazil looks a little bit different. Doesn't really look like this. I don't know how to describe it. The soil is also a bit more reddish. So I can safely eliminate Brazil. So what we're left with is Mexico, Ecuador, and Colombia. It could be any one of these three, to be honest. I would have honestly ruled out Mexico. This looks more like Colombia or Ecuador to me. But the sun being in the south is a bit, it's throwing me off a bit. So I am not really sure in this one. Because we also have like some cacti and stuff. So I don't know where in Mexico has these kind of hills. So if this is Mexico, I'm not sure where to guess. Um, could be Colombia, Ecuador. I'm gonna trust my instinct that this doesn't really feel like a Mexican landscape to me, and I'm gonna go Ecuador, Colombia. Um, but where do I go? Maybe southern Colombia? But it's not really dry there, is it? Southern Ecuador would make sense, like down here, with this kind of landscape and how dry it is. But I don't know. Let's give it a shot. Sun being in the south is not really helping my confidence, though. It is actually just Mexico. Wow. Well, now I know, I guess. I should have just trusted the sun. Sun was in the south, so we should have been in the northern hemisphere. So fair enough, we were just in Mexico. All right, and then last round, of course, as I said earlier, you have white lines in the middle and on the side. This is Australia again. Hopefully you guys recognized it this time. This bollard as well, very Australian. Now let's see if we can maybe 5k this. There's a Albany. Wait, no, that's not Albany. That's Albury. Don't. Oh, Albury is right here. Okay, so Albury is on the M31 and to the south. Okay, so this makes sense. There's also something starting with a B, maybe Holbrook. Not really. Something that way. But what we do have here is um, road names as well as Maryvale Station, as well as some unique road angle. Is that a rail track on the side? Yeah, on the other side you have a rail track as well. So let's see, where is the railway on this road? Well, here is the railway, so we could be here. Oh, there it is, Maryvale Station Road. That makes sense because there's a divided highway, and on the west side of it there's a railway. There's a road going off like this, which would be this road, Burma Road, and then this is the off-road. So nice. Good job if you 5K'd it as well. And if you didn't, then now you know how I managed to 5K it. So hopefully that helps. And that's game number one. We still have two more games, so let's get straight into it. Next game we'll play this week is on an arbitrary world, which is also a world map. It's got 100k locations. Very nice map to play as well. It is AI generated, so mm, it'll be interesting what locations the AI has come up with. And yeah, let's get started. So let me make this a challenge and let me copy the link. Um, all right, and let's get started. Oh, okay. So by the way, hopefully you guys have played the challenge already before you're watching this. So a very beautiful landscape, and we have this bollard as well, which is All right, so these mountains as well as this bollard, 100% you're going to be in Austria. So just to make sure, there are similar looking bollards in a few countries. So Slovenia has similar bollards, Montenegro has similar bollards. But if you see this little circular thingy on top, that is pretty much unique to Austria. And then this line here, like the red reflector, is a bit darker colored in Austria, if that makes sense. Slovenia and stuff have a brighter red. But even other than that, just this sort of landscape looks like this region, like the Alps in general. And then this architecture as well should tell you a lot. So you can take a look at this. These kind of like sloped roofs, whitish houses. Um, yeah, this like whitish, yellowish, like beige houses, and then dark colored roofs which are all sloping. Uh, very common in Austria. Looks very beautiful as well. This is a Gen 4 camera. If you remember your camera gens from last video. Um, yeah, this is a very Austrian thing. Now, question is, where in Austria are we? And the thing is that most of Western Austria doesn't have Gen 4. So if you have a Gen 4 Austria, you're probably somewhere like in this part. But up here, it's really flat. Along the border as well, it's really flat. So we're probably somewhere in the middle. Um, these mountains kind of remind me of the Italian Alps. So maybe we're a bit close to Italy. I don't know. I'll guess somewhere here, maybe. Let's see how it goes. Ah, never mind. We were all the way up there, close to Salzburg, which makes sense. There's also some big mountains here. Gen 4 also exists in this area. So fair enough. Great job if you got closer. And let's move on to the next round. Okay, so we're driving on the left, and we have this signpost. Looks like a thick white wooden signpost. Also have this pole with like indents in it and whatnot. This is all a very clear indication of being in New Zealand. So you don't even need to look at the sun. You don't even need to worry about anything else. Driving on the left, this signpost and this pole in combination tells you that you are in New Zealand. There are some other places which have like a indented pole, but they look a bit different, the poles. But they're also like in Hungary, Romania, and Poland, which look completely different. So uh, you can't confuse them. You're also driving on the left. All of these drive on the right that I mentioned. So if you're driving on the left with this pole, it should be New Zealand. This signpost also helps you differentiate it from Australia. Australia usually wouldn't have a signpost like this. And just the landscape, these kind of hills, green hills and whatnot. Very New Zealand. So where in New Zealand could we be? Let me zoom on New Zealand. So in New Zealand, down here you have some really big mountains. Doesn't really look like those mountains here. And then this area is really flat as well. So if we are on the South Island, let's say we are up here somewhere in this area, where you can have smaller hills, not really massive mountains and flat landscape. So we could either be here, or I'm more aligned to think that we are on the Northern Island. Because the North Island has a bunch of similar looking landscapes with these kind of hills. Um, so I'll just guess somewhere here where you have like these kind of hills. Let's see. We were just we were on an island, Waiheke Island. Interesting. So we were closer to Auckland. Um, so that's a interesting location. And I guess those were the hills. So makes sense. Uh, I guess it was technically North Island of New Zealand, but not really where I was expecting it to be. But nice job if you got closer, if you got where it was. All right, let's move on to the next round. Sun is in the south. We are in the northern hemisphere. These buildings look European as well. I'm sure you got the domain as well. There's a .cz. The point of this whole video series is that we shouldn't rely on web domains or flags or actual signs. That we can pick up on other clues as well. So, I mean, if you have a domain, you can of course use it. So that's pretty much what's happening here. But I'll still look around. Hopefully, I can find some other clues that might help with identifying that this is Czechia. Long antenna, you can sometimes get it in Czechia, but a bunch of other countries also have it, so it's not really the biggest hint for Czechia. I guess the language kind of looks like a looks like it as well. If you're good with languages, that could help. Are there any other hints that tell you that you are in Czechia? Not really any obvious hints, I'd say. So, as the domain comes in handy in this one. Um, Maybe if you could see the number plate, but not really. So, all right, let's just roll with it somewhere in Czechia. Is this really Czechia though, or is this a bait bait domain? Because I'm not fully convinced this is Czechia. It could be Slovakia, but I'll trust the web domain. Let's see. Okay, good enough. So, well done. I'm sure most of you got the country in this one. Oh, was that the city name? Wait, I want to quickly check the location. Oh, there was the city name right here. Oh, I didn't even think about that, but maybe some of you even 5K'd this. So good job if you 5K'd it. It's definitely doable. Let's move on to the next round. We have a sun kind of in the north. We have a dry landscape, and again, yellow line in the middle and white line on the outside, very common in the Americas. But considering the sun is in the north, this should probably be just Brazil with this sort of landscape, dry landscape, and yeah, I don't know. It's kind of hilly. Argentina is also pretty dry, but it's like pretty flat. It's either flat or it's got mountains. So this sort of a slightly like sloping, hilly landscape is more of a Brazilian thing. All right, so if we are in Brazil, this looks really dry, so we would be up here somewhere. If this part of Brazil is very dry. Um, is it dry enough to be up there? Maybe. I'll go like here. Let's see. All right, that's good enough, fair enough. We were in Bahia. But yeah, the further northeast you go, the drier it gets, I guess. So that helps. Let's go on to the next round. My voice is dying. I've been talking a lot today, so anyway, we're driving on the left again. Um, this should be New Zealand. I'm just trying to think of why I know this is New Zealand, so I can explain. Oh wait, is it Australia actually? Oh wait, never mind. It's not New Zealand. This is Australia. My bad. You can see that bollard right there. That looks like an Australian bollard. So we have a driving on the left and that bollard, which is Australian. Hmm. When it comes to guessing where in Australia this is, where would we be? These polls, do they give me anything? Not really. Oran Park, I don't know where that is. But if you do know it, then that might help you. Um, there's some more bollards. That's a better view of them as well. Let's take a look at this pole again. The number plate seems to be like that. So I'm between either Victoria or Queensland here because New South Wales you'd usually see probably one yellow plate at least. New South Wales used to have yellow plates. So it's probably not New South Wales. I'm not really sure if this is Victoria or Queensland. This gives me more of a Victoria vibe, to be honest. Just the general feel, I don't know. I don't really know how to put that in words. Something you develop from playing a lot, I guess. Um, but it could be wrong. My vibes have been wrong really quite often, so I don't know. But is that? I feel like I don't know my Australian number plates that well. But I think Victoria has like a blue triangle on top of it, like an inverted triangle, and I don't really see that on any of these plates. So that makes me think maybe we are in Queensland and not really in Victoria. All right, I'll take a chance. I'll go with Queensland. Let me quickly see if I can see like a Oran Park somewhere. Probably not, but maybe it's like a suburb down here somewhere. Um, can't really see it yet. I can see some other parks, so maybe it exists. Maybe it's closer to Sunshine Coast. I could quickly scan near Melbourne as well in case it's a place here. Um, Alright, I don't see it. I don't want to waste too much time. Just based on the number plate, I'm inclined to think this is probably Queensland, so let's go for it. Oh, it actually was Sydney. Oh, there's Oran Park as well. That's fairly decently sized. If I scanned around Sydney, I could have probably found it. So if you got that, good job. Well done. The only reason I didn't go New South Wales there was the number plates, but of course there's a lot of white plates in New South Wales now, so can't trust that meta too much, the yellow plates. So good job if you got it. I'm sure some of you did. And 20,923 is my score, so well done if you beat that. And if not, then hopefully you got some tips from my perspective. And then finally, to end off, let's do an AI generated world again, another map that I like to play. Um, I misclicked. Okay, AI generated world. All right, let's copy the link. I might do some NMPZ challenges in the future. No moving, panning, or zooming. That'll be interesting. We'll see. But for now, let's stick to no moving and let's get started. So hopefully you've played this challenge already. And let's go. This is my perspective. All right. Sun is kind of in the middle, doesn't really help. But we have a long antenna and we are driving on the right side. You can tell that because the antenna is on the back of the car. So that means that the car is facing this way. We're driving on the right side. And then this is a really flat landscape. You have this, which is a Russian road marker. Well, a kilometer marker, I guess. So if you're on a Russian highway, you see these kilometer markers. So you know you are in Russia. Also, that blue sign in the distance is a Russian sign. Maybe if we were closer to that, it would have helped. I could have probably gotten a good score. Now, the issue is that you can see that this is a white car. And when it comes to Russia, um, well, Eastern Russia, like down here, has a white car. But I don't really know if this is Eastern. This doesn't really feel Eastern to me. But I could very well be wrong about that. I'm not the best at region guessing Russia. Um, I mean, you do get the white car in like other parts of Russia as well. So it's not a, it doesn't like if you have a white car, it doesn't mean you're always in the east. But there's a good chance of you being there. Does this feel Eastern at all, though? Not really. This doesn't feel Eastern to me at all. Maybe though, with those kind of trees. Let's see the road angle, maybe. Hmm. I mean, if we're Eastern, we're probably like close here somewhere. But this mountain's north. Hmm. Yeah, like here somewhere, maybe. I don't really know. If we are east, I'd say somewhere here. but we could very well be in the west. But I'll take a chance and go east. Let's see. Oh my God, thank goodness I went east. See, my vibe was completely off there, but I trusted the white car, and this road made sense because it's a flat area here, and there's not that much coverage in the east, so this highway is pretty much covered. So makes sense. Good job if you got it as well. And let's move on. Maybe I could have even 5K'd that if I scanned for like the right road angle on that road. It's possible, I guess. Anyway, let's move on to the next round. I think this is Slovenia. Sun is in the south. Um, Maybe that language also tells you if it's Slovenia. I don't really know. Not a language expert. But yeah, just these houses in general. They look a little bit similar to Austrian houses. But it doesn't really look like Austria. That's how I look at Slovenia. Kind of feels Austrian, but not really. It's like a mix of Austria and Croatia, which makes sense because it's between them. Um, do I have any other hints? Not really. It's just the architecture for me, and I guess these kind of like mountains in the distance, um, or like hills. I don't know what do you want to call them. We have some text here. I can't really read that. But yeah, just the architecture and the landscape for me here, very Slovenian. Um, I don't really have any other hints. That's pretty much all I have. So I'll guess in Slovenia, maybe, I don't really know where. Up here? Okay, there. Fair enough. So I'll take that. Good score again. Let's move on to the next round. All right, so this is something people sometimes mess up often. They think that this is a yellow line on the side and white line in the middle. But it's important to take care that also people think that this is driving on the left, but this is a divided road, so make sure you pay attention to that. So this way you're driving on the right, that way also you're driving on the right, it's just divided. And that means that this is a yellow middle line. There's also a yellow line there, and there's the white outside line. So that tells you that you have yellow middle lines and white outside lines again. Very common in the Americas, north and south. Sun is in the south, so we are in the northern hemisphere, so we are somewhere here. And we have a sign here that says speed limit 45, which means we are in the US because in Canada they don't use speed limit, they use maximum. So if you see maximum 45, well not 45, but whatever it is, it means you'll be in Canada. But here we should be in the US. In the distance you can also see some interstate signs. So US has those blue interstates, like you can see these. That's the sign there. I can't really read that. What is that? Is that 74 maybe? Maybe we're on Interstate 74. There's Interstate 74. What's the road angle? This is a complete guess. I don't really know where we are in the US. Uh, but maybe we are here. I don't know. Yeah, sure. I mean, it is a divided road, so who knows? Road angle doesn't really fit there, but whatever. I don't think this is the right spot anyway, but maybe one of you guys could actually 5K this, but it'll take time. It'll take a lot of scanning to 5K this. But yeah, this is sort of a general like, oh, there's some places here as well. Newport, I guess. I don't really know if I've heard of Newport. I'm not too familiar with all the cities in USA. Could be a big city that I just completely don't know about. But anyway, I'll just make a guess. That area sounds about right to me, and yeah, that's good enough. It actually was the 74, so we were not on the 74, but we were heading towards the 74. So fair enough. I don't really see Newport, so maybe I just read that wrong. But anyway, that's a decent guess. I'll take it. Makes sense for that region. Let's move on to the next round. Okay. Now again, we're driving on the right and we have a blue badge on the number plate telling us that we are in Europe. And we have these bollards. Now, this is what I was talking about earlier. This looks similar to the Austrian bollard with the black thing on top. Uh, but also the red reflector is much brighter here. So that's what I was saying as well. But this is not Slovenia. This is not Montenegro either. This is Serbia. This is a Serbian bollard because the red thing on the bollard is like displaced towards the edge. In Slovenia, Montenegro, Austria, everywhere else that has this bollard, it's usually in the middle of the white part. But in Serbia, it's displaced towards the side. So if you see that, that's a Serbian bollard. Another tip for Serbia is that the Google car will usually have no antenna. Sometimes you can get an antenna, but more often than not, there'll be no antenna. So that can help. So given all that, we're probably in Serbia. Now, the northern part of Serbia is really flat, and there's mountains and stuff in the south. So this looks kind of flat, but I can see mountains in the south. So maybe we're like here somewhere. This area, I don't really know. Let's see. Oh, never mind. So we were looking at the national park. Um, those were the mountains in the south, but it makes sense with how flat it was everywhere else for it to be this northern. So nice job if you got closer, or if you got Serbia. Well done. And this is the final round. So here we have this antenna again that I was talking about. You find that in Mexico, Colombia, Ecuador, and Brazil. So already you're down to 4 choices. Um, Naturally, with these kind of mountains and greenery, it's not Cambodia. Cambodia has usually got like very dark soil, pretty flat more often than not, and there's not too many paved roads in Cambodia as well. Anyway, so we have narrowed it down to 4 countries. Again, with these kind of mountains, doesn't really look like Brazil at all. Um, yeah, doesn't really feel like Brazil to me with these. I mean, it could be actually, but I'd be inclined to think this is more of a Ecuador or Colombia, simply because firstly we have these signposts which have a very like a thin white stick. So if you remember, I said Colombia has like a cross at the back of the signpost, but it's also got this thin like white stick holding it. Same with Ecuador. Usually it'll look a little bit different in Mexico and Brazil, I think. This could be Mexico though. I'm trying to see if I can see that number plate because that would at the bottom probably say the city or something. Um, doesn't seem like it though. But yeah, these kind of mountains look a lot like Colombia and Ecuador to me. If this was Brazil, this would have to be down here near Rio Espirito Santo area. Um, but just based on everything else. Oh, look at that. I totally missed that the whole time. Well, here you have it. There's a cross on the back of the sign, the one I was talking about earlier, which you find in Colombia. You can see it right here. I guess I never panned on that, but well, now we know we are in Colombia for sure. Do we have any yellow plates as well? Not that we can see, I guess. And then I think public transport has white plates in Colombia. So anyway, we are in Colombia. We have these kind of hills. I'll just go middle, I guess. Could be south, maybe. I don't know. Hedge a bit south. Okay, yeah, it's just middle. Fair enough. So nice. Good job if you got a better score. 23k. I'm happy with that. And if you have any more tips for me, let me know. And hopefully, whatever I was saying, my commentary gave you some tips as well. So yeah, that's it for today's challenges, today's videos, and yeah, I'll see you guys in next week. So thanks for joining, thanks for watching, and yeah, see you next week.